Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing good on this Wednesday, and it's time for kind of, in a manner of speaking, the final college quarterback Wednesday of the season because the college football season is mostly over. We still have conference title games and bowl games, but I'm not going to be doing a new Thursday. I'm sorry, Wednesday college football quarterback video after every bowl game that a quarterback happens to play in. Of course, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. Most of these guys are not going to be playing in conference championship games, so it doesn't make sense to do another list after that's done. So this is probably going to be the last one. When all of college football's over in like mid-January, I think it wraps up. I think the championship game is like January 8th or 9th. Obviously, I'm going to be making videos about which quarterbacks I like in the draft, but that's not really going to be part of NCAA Quarterback Wednesday. That's just going to be draft stuff. So this is the last one. And that's kind of a good thing because, quite frankly, the gas has kind of gone out of the tank when it comes to these quarterbacks to me and to a lot of you guys as well, I think, because Gino is playing so well, it's kind of hard to get super amped up about these quarterbacks in the draft, I think. At the very least, it's not what we thought it would be before the season when Gino was a 1 year stopgap and Drew Lock was a 1 year backup stopgap. It's different now. We've been over this before. I think you guys all know exactly what I'm talking about. But to finish it off, let's go through the final college football quarterback Wednesday rankings. They've changed a little bit since last week, but not a lot. There's one big change that, or well, excuse me, actually two big changes that I think merit discussion, but for the most part, takes have been formed. So CJ Stroud remains number one, and he does end the college football season as my number one quarterback. Um, it's kind of a weird thing where after the Ohio State Michigan game, I got some comments from people saying, oh, so much for C.J. Stroud. Did you see how bad he looked? And I don't get that philosophy at all. Like, how many times does C.J. Stroud have to show you his incredible arm and his strong pocket mobility before you realize how good a prospect he is? We're talking about one game where, by the way, he still had 350 yards. Ohio State got destroyed in the trenches by Michigan, point blank, period. I can't hold much of that against Stroud. Yes, he threw two interceptions. Yes, it wasn't his best game. Yes, he lost for the first time this year. I mean, come on, let's not act like a quarterback needs to win every single game they play to be worth drafting. And honestly, CJ Stroud could play 3 or 4 games like that game, where, by the way, he wasn't even that bad. And I would still say, hey, this CJ Stroud guy, his arm is incredible. His accuracy is top notch. All right, that's the stuff that matters. What a quarterback does in college, in terms of just his on the field performance, is strongly contingent on system, teammates, situations, opponents, all these different things that are not going to necessarily be the case in the NFL. Isolate the player. You isolate CJ Stroud, he has an incredible arm. So, still my number one. Anthony Richardson, he didn't play a great game. He went like 9 for 27. There's no way a quarterback who can't complete passes in college is going to cut it in the NFL. But I think with like 2 years of development, he's going to be good. I love his talent. He's got a great arm and he's got tremendous mobility. So to me, Anthony Richardson, still number two. And keep in mind, everything's on a scale. Everything is on a scale. Anthony Richardson, if he comes out in this draft, I don't know where he's going to get drafted. He might be like a third round pick. So keep that in mind. I don't want Anthony Richardson in the top five. No, absolutely not. That's not the question. The question is, how much do you covet the player at the position that you're most likely going to be able to get them? So Anthony Richardson, if you can get him in like the third round, Yeah, sign me up. I will develop him for 2 years and see what's up. Um, Obviously, Hendon Hooker has fallen out of the list because the ACL's too much. The ACL's just too much. There were too many problems with Hooker as is. I still really liked him, but I knew there were issues. And now one of those issues is a torn ACL. Like, I can't mess with that. So he's completely off my list, just putting that out there. Number 3 is Will Levis. He played an okay game, nothing extraordinary, but he's another guy. Look at him in isolation. Great arm, great mobility. I think he's got well, not sub 4.5, but he's around 4.5 speed. Like, I look at those traits and I go, I think this guy could be good. He's going to have to be developed a little bit, which is disappointing, but I still think Will Levis will be a good pro in the right system. Number 4 is Cam Ward. He really impressed me in the Apple Cup, honestly. He's not fast, but he knows how to use his mobility to rush for yards and maneuver the pocket. I was impressed. I thought he played a really good game despite the loss. So Cam Ward is now number 4 to me. If he enters the draft, I think he's another guy who might be there in the 3rd round. So I would much rather have a guy like Cam Ward in the 3rd round than a guy like Bryce Young in the 1st. So keep in mind, these things are weighted. Maybe Bryce Young is better than Cam Ward, but I'd rather have Cam Ward in the 3rd than Bryce Young in the top 5, top 10, whatever. 5 is Will Rogers. He played another pretty good game for Mississippi State. Kind of a system quarterback, but I still like him. He's still one of my favorite guys at this point. I don't know exactly where he's going to go in the draft, but I don't think he's a first-round guy, so he's got my attention. Number 6 is a guy who kind of shot up the list after a really nice Apple Cup. It's a Penix. He had a big game, effective game against a really good Cougars defense, and his body of work this year is now impossible to deny. Like, the arm talent that he has is, it's not Josh Allen, it's not Justin Herbert, but it's good. His arm is good, his size is good, his mobility is good, his understanding how to run an offense is good. The only real knock against Penix is just not enough. He's got good size, but not great size. He's got a good arm, but not a great arm. He's got good mobility, but not great mobility. So I will say this. Some people are starting to talk like Penix is going to be a first rounder. I definitely don't want him there. I definitely don't see him as a first rounder. If you can get him in the 3rd round, like I said with Cam Ward, like I said with Anthony Richardson, you get him in the 3rd round, I'll take him. If he ends up being a high-level backup, that's okay. But realistically, I think you could develop him to be a starter. And the fact that Penix is injury-prone is not going to matter as much to me if you get him later. If you get him in the 3rd round, then I'll live with him being a potential injury risk. That's fine. Grayson McCall, still at number 7, or, well, now number 7, even though he didn't play because he's hurt. I just like the guy. He threw like 7 interceptions across 4 college football seasons. I know he's at Coastal Carolina, but give Coastal Carolina ins a chance. He kind of moves up just because other people are moving down. Like, he's just kind of winning the battle by not even showing up. And there is something to be said about how, that's not exactly desirable, but I like Grayson McCall. He's somebody who I'm interested in later. 8 is Bryce Young. Still good, still solid, still intriguing talent. I just can't fall in love with him. To me, he's been hanging around this area of my big board for a while. Again, I mean, is he better than Penix? Yes. Is he better than Cam Ward? Yes. But using a top 10 pick on a guy like Bryce Young, I just can't really get into it. Honestly, of the scenarios surrounding us using Denver's pick, Bryce Young is probably the only one that I really go like, ugh, at. Even Will Levis, as much as Will Levis has disappointed me this year, if we used a top 5 pick on Will Levis, I would be like, okay, I like his arm. I like what he can bring to the table. He can be a Josh Allen in this league, no problem. Bryce Young, I would just be like, All right, number 9, KJ Jefferson. Again, I like him. He's cool. But there's only so much you can say when he doesn't fit your offense at all. And right now our offense is smoking. So the only way we change the offense is if Waldron leaves. So I can't really say I'm interested in drafting him when I know he won't fit. So I like him, though. I think somebody's going to be happy with him. And 10 is a new name, a guy we have not talked about in a long time. And I want to be very clear here. Let me be very clear. This is on a scale. Spencer Rattler is a guy you might be able to get in the 6th or 7th round very easily. This guy has a ton of problems. He will be lucky to get drafted despite how well he's played the last 2 games. So with all that being said, if you give me a choice between Spencer Rattler in the 6th round or somebody who is better, like Bo Nix in the 3rd round, I'm taking Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler in the 6th versus Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the 3rd, give me Spencer Rattler. There is something there. Maybe he'll find it, and you can get him for basically no capital. So, Spencer Rattler, welcome back to the big board just in time. So, that's my rankings. Season's over. Let me know what you guys think. It ended up being a pretty big disappointment, I can't lie. This is not the list that I thought we were going to have. But there are some good names, there are some intriguing options, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter as much, right? Because Gino is him. All right, I'll catch you guys later today. Go Hawks. Going to be more videos. Let me know what you think.